Friends, we've gotten a lot more information on the drones coming in, and some of it is very, very concerning. I kind of gave you a little bit of a tip-off earlier this week when I said that there is a theory, a rumor going around out there, and it is now looking, I believe, to be the highest likelihood of what these drones are. I know you guys all have different... a bunch of you think that you know what the drones are, and maybe you disagree with me on that, and that's fine. You know, I'm not necessarily saying you're wrong. None of us have all the information, but I'm going to say that there's a high probability that these are nuclear material sniffing drones from the U.S. government, and that is truly concerning. And that opens up some very big questions. I'm going to walk you through why I believe that is the most likely scenario in this case. I'm going to drop some data points along the way that kind of, I think, invalidates some other theories, or at least makes those theories not make as much sense. But again, we're dealing with a super corrupt and super incompetent government, so we can't rule out any of these completely. We watched the Chinese spy balloon just kind of float across the entire United States, remember, due to the incompetent government, and everyone just kind of like, are you going to do something about that? You need to do something about that, and the Biden administration is just like, nah, we're not good. We're just going to observe it. And so that's the kind of incompetency or corruptness, or both, that we're kind of dealing with here. But let's walk you through some of these things, but then we're also going to walk you through how to handle a nuclear event. We're going to talk about dirty bomb events. We're going to talk about a nuclear blast. And this is information you should have. We'll cover that real briefly. It'll be super, super fast, so it won't drag on for a whole bunch. Let's talk about some of the news that's come out recently. We have Jersey Futures, a Twitter account, posted some information, some insider information apparently, and then they immediately deleted it. Deleted the account. Not just the stuff, but deleted the whole account. They were basically saying, oh, well, no one will listen to this because I'm a small account. So here's the inside scoop on what this is. And basically laid out that these were HPGE, nuclear detection drones, which have been deployed in Ukraine before. Now, they also went on to say that that they believe that what's happening here is twofold. They're testing it out over U.S. soil and also testing out how the public will respond to it. Because they know that if they have to do a sweep like this, they're going to have to do a sweep without telling anyone. So the idea is, see how people respond by doing the sweep and not telling them. And then they can have a better idea of how to kind of like handle the PR of it. So that's what they say it is. So that sounds quite plausible. Let's go over a few of these data points. One, these drones are flying low. They're flying at nighttime. They're also flying with their lights on. Another major data point is that the U.S. government is not doing diddly squat about it, which is really hard, even as incompetent as our government is. It's really hard to believe that the U.S. military doesn't know what they are and is still not doing anything about it. I mean, these are the same guys that run the IRS. And if they don't understand something, believe me, they will lock you up until they understand it. So, we also have another data point out there. The Geiger counter world map showed a sudden spike of radiation in downtown New York City. The site was then taken offline. It has since come back up online without any data on it. They wiped out all of the Geiger counters out there. But they showed a big spike of radiation in downtown Manhattan. Is somebody just fooling with it? Did somebody just go in there and start punching in numbers? I'm not sure exactly how they get their information, whether it's just publicly submitted by anonymous people and they just kind of go off of the assumption that nobody would want to screw with it. And maybe they were wrong about that. I don't know. But that is another data point. how much of it does it mean. All right, let's go over the bits and bobs that we have. That they're flying low, they're flying at nighttime, and they're flying lights on, and there's no interceptions. All right, so the U.S. government is saying this is not foreign entities. Foreign entities are not flying these drones. They sure seem to be saying that with conviction, but then they won't tell us whose they are. I think that really strongly points them to the U.S. government. And the second data point here that really points to the U.S. government is the fact that they're flying with their lights on. We also have an FAA notice that was posted. And I didn't put that up on my screen. I have that on my another screen here, so I'll bring that up so I can read some passages of that to you. So, the lights on. They are required to have the lights on if they're flying in U.S. airspace at nighttime. You have to do that. If they were foreign drones or if they're super nefarious, they wouldn't be flying with their lights on. So we have somebody flying with lights on so you can see them, but then not telling anyone what they're doing. Unless we look at this FAA NOTAM basically alert. A 2 nautical mile radius from Picatinny Armory. So that's interesting. That's in New Jersey. Now, it is a relatively small area, 2 miles radius, 2 nautical mile radius, but it's 2,000 feet and below. And it's for drones. So that's interesting. Then listen to the dates. This is from November 25th. That kind of fits to December 26th. And the reason for it is security. It's a security thing, temporary flight restrictions for special security reasons. What are those special security reasons? We don't know. But the fact that we have an FAA, essentially flight plan, closing it for about a month, no, in this whole area, no UAS, which is unmanned aerial systems, operations, are authorized in the areas covered by this NOTAM. UAS ops may be authorized within the defined SSI airspace if in compliance with blah, 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 blah. So they're basically saying that they're confiscating that airspace and no one's allowed to do anything with it. And they're planning on using it for, it sure seems like they're going to use it for drones. So that may have been what sparked this whole thing. But we're seeing these reports widespread over a larger area. Now, has the U.S. government ever issued a NOTAM and then kind of wandered outside of it? They do that. They do that because, you know what? The federal government gets to do whatever the heck they want to do because nobody ever holds them accountable. There may be somebody gets slapped on the wrist, but probably not. So, the next thing that's really important is that they're flying these at nighttime. With this means that they're using either some kind of thermal imaging, they're using some thermal cameras or something like that, or they are using some other detector or something that would not be affected by nighttime or actually may be increased by nighttime. So we have nighttime flying, but then also low. If they're using thermals, they don't necessarily need to be low. Okay, they could be higher up. That's kind of indicates maybe that this might be something else. You would need to fly low to pick up gamma radiation. That's given off by a nuclear decay. You need to be relatively low for this. And these drones seem to be flying pretty low. Low enough with their lights on that people are seeing them very clearly. So that really does kind of point to the fact that this may be nuclear. Now, they could be testing out thermals on drones. But why would they need to do that in New Jersey? And that really kind of points to two scenarios that I really think this is going in the direction of. One, they have credible information that there is a nuclear device and they're searching for it. And because of that, they don't care what the population thinks. They just don't care. And so that's why they're just going to do it over this populated area, because that's what they're trying to protect, and that's where they're going to do it. They don't want people panicking and fleeing from the areas. If they knew credible information of a nuclear device somewhere in those areas, they would not tell you. I firmly believe that. I firmly believe that the federal government would not tell you that. Now, if they heard that they're going to detonate it in such an area, then they might tell people, but they know that if they tell people, then that might speed up the detonation, right? That the detonation may happen faster. If you just see all the federal agencies clearing out their offices in a certain area, that's where you should really be worried about, because all the feds are going to tell all the other feds what's happening, and they may quietly move their families out of the area, but they won't tell the general population. The second option is, so they're either looking for an actual device or devices, or they have some idea that there may be devices, or two, like this Jersey Futures guy or gal suggested, this could be them testing. But why wouldn't they test them somewhere else? Now, I think that they kind of answered that question if the public's response is part of this. How would the public respond to seeing a whole bunch of drones suddenly appearing with no announcement, just appearing in the sky, flying all over the place? They may actually have a different area where they're flying them without the lights. They might be doing that just to kind of test the responses. Or they may do that in the future. I don't know. But that does seem like the two most plausible scenarios. If these were foreigners flying these, the U.S. Defense Department would be super excited to fire off a whole bunch of their $1 million missiles. Okay, they'd just be super excited about doing that. If now, I know that there's some of you guys who are in the extraterrestrial or spiritual beings, but they seem like drones with lights on. And then a bunch of people are turning in pictures and videos of aircraft with their lights on. And so not all these sightings are equal, because a lot of people are turning in pictures and videos of aircraft, like manned aircraft. All these things have lights on. Why in the world would spiritual beings or aliens be abiding by U.S. airspace signaling light rules like that? Why would they do that? That doesn't make any sense. I don't know. So, yeah, if they were spiritual beings and they were just trying to freak everyone out, okay. Well, then we shouldn't freak out about it, right? So, that's my take on things. Let me walk you through real fast what you should do if a dirty bomb goes off near you, or if a nuclear blast happens near you. If a dirty bomb goes off near you, it's a conventional explosive. It's just an explosive with radioactive material. You may hear the explosion. If you don't hear the explosion, you probably aren't close enough to really be impacted by it. It's usually a very small area. They're just spreading radioactive material over an area, depending on how radioactive it is. Basically, you want to get out of the area immediately. Just leave. And everyone else will be doing that too. Just leave with them. As soon as you get out of the area, you either need to shower, strip down, shower, or if the authorities are already there, they may already have firemen hooking up fire hoses to hose people down. And if that's the case, don't go around it. Do what you need to do. Strip down, get hosed off. Don't put the clothes back on again. If they're handing out blankets or whatever, grab that. Then go get some other fresh clothes that are outside the contaminated area. The longer that the radioactive particles are on your body, the more damage they'll do. Okay, so you want to get them off your body, and if they're on your clothes, if they're in your hair, if they're on your skin, they can be washed off relatively easily. So do that. if you're really close to a zone like that, just wash as quickly as possible and get your clothes off. If you're near a nuclear blast, which will have a much louder explosion, one, you will see a bright flash. Do not look at the flash. If you see a bright flash that lights up the sky, don't look at it. That's number one. You could get blinded by it. Two, you have seconds to take cover. If that's get under your desk, you have seconds. If you're close to the blast, you have very little time to respond. And you're probably toast anyway. If you're a mile, 2 miles, 5 miles away, you have a little bit of time to respond. And this is super important. You need to get out of the sight line. You need to put stuff, as much mass between you and the blast. Because near ground zero, just people are toast, okay? But then there's a much larger blast radius where if you're behind a building, the fire and all of that radiation that's coming out and the superheated air that's being driven by this, the shock wave could kill you. Which being behind something could save you. The things will spontaneously combust. So if you're standing there, you will burst into flames. If you stand behind something, it will burst into flames instead of you. So take cover, right? After the blast, the shock wave comes past you, okay? If everything's not on fire around you, the next thing you need to do is you need to get underground. You need to get underground and get as far away from the air as possible because all those particles are going to be raining down potentially in your area. If you can't get underground, then what you need to do is you need to get to the center of a building, as far away from the exterior walls. Remember that the roof is very much an exterior wall, so stay away from the roof and stay away from the walls as much as possible. Close any windows and try to just not bring as much air in as possible. These particles will settle on the outside of your house and just then try to get a hold of a radio of some sort. Your phone can act as a radio. A lot of phones can. It used to be where you have to put headphones in them, but a lot of phones can actually pick up radio signals. That's something you can go check out. Maybe we'll cover that in another video on which phones can act as radios so you can pick up. Even if you can't pick up cell phone signals, you may be able to pick up radio signals. All right, friends, that's kind of what you do. Wait until you hear differently. You were talking days, and then even waiting a couple days will really minimize the amount of radiation you get exposed to. If it rains, that will really clean off a lot of the radioactive particles from the outside, and so that will be super helpful. All right, friends, hopefully that's helpful. That is scratching the surface. I am not going deep into that. Not here. Go look it up on YouTube. Find credible people who will tell you what to do in the event of a nuclear blast or a dirty bomb going off in your area. Dirty bombs affect blocks of a city, like maybe 4 or 5 blocks, maybe a little more. It's a very confined area. A nuclear blast can, if you're near a city, like if you're in the suburbs of a city, you may have to deal with that blast, that shock wave. It may blast out windows if you're near the window. If you're looking at the pretty mushroom cloud and that shock wave hits you, it can blast that glass into you. That's not good, but you probably won't spontaneously combust. But take cover, wait for that shock wave to go past you. All right, friends, hopefully that was useful. Hopefully that's helpful. Let me know what you guys think, if that's the most likely scenarios for these drones, or if you think I'm absolutely wrong, then just be nice about it and tell me why you think I'm wrong. What data points am I not paying attention to? Yes, I absolutely believe that the federal government could look us right in the eyes and lie to us. And they would have no problem doing that because they've done it so many times before. All right, friends, if you want to check out another video from this channel, there's one right up here. I'll see you over there. I think I got a really good deal on Campbell's Chunky Soups down in the pinned comment down below. Check that out. It's $10 off $25 at least when I'm posting this video. All right, friends, thanks so much for watching. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report out.